but sometimes Gates keeps the moment of silence going longer, but I just leave that all up to him, whatever he
Okay,
wants to
so
do.
he will like let me know.
No, I just do this, and
Because the moment of silence, how long does it have to be?
however you want it. He has a lot more endurance for that than the
Okay.
rest of us.
All right.
So don't worry about it. Yikes. But I
So,
have to have this here because I'm going to have to read it. There.
oh, okay. Well,
Okay?
and
You can
then
take that down with you.
I just
Modify it if you feel like, but that's
I'll
how he's
probably
been
use
doing it.
this one only because it's bigger.
Okay.
Like that part's bigger.
Okay.
But then I have to. This is where
Right here.
There was a little typo.
you were invited. We should probably just add that down here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be fine.
So-
It's fine. Yeah.
It'll
He's.
be fine.
I'm not
Okay.
sure who does the greeting each other. I guess it'll be you. So after you've read your opening words, that's when you say to people before you light the chalice. Oh yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, yeah.
So opening
Yeah.
words, then greet each other, then you light the chalice.
Okay, what's the little star for? Is there a,
Stand up as usually. A star.
It just means you
Greeting
stand.
each other. means
okay?
Stand up.
Is there a dialogue for that, or we just make it
No,
up?
you just make it up.
Okay, got it.
Do you know if we have a spotlight this morning?
I don't know. I left my purse and stuff back there, so I don't have my. It doesn't say anything, so.
Probably not. Okay. All right. Well, I'll just be sitting back here,
Okay,
minding my own business.
yeah.
But I will stay until everyone's gone and lock up.
Okay.
I appreciate you doing this.
Oh, that's fine. I think it's ready to go. Are you ready, or you want to wait a few minutes?
Give it one more minute, maybe. Is Marcy already up there? We can.
You're right.
Anne Marie says they can hear us talk.
Oh.
Thank you, Anne Marie.
Turn the sound off.
Yeah, go for it.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Barbara Thompson, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. Welcome to our service. Unitarian Universalism encourages an open-ended search for meaning in life and a commitment to asking our values to shape our actions. We are a pluralistic religion that draws wisdom from many sources. We welcome all people into our beloved community of whatever age, race, class, ethnicity, physical ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or religious background. We welcome especially those worshiping with us for the first time. Guests are welcome to participate in any activities in our community. Welcome team members are wearing green name badges and are ready to answer any questions you may have if you are a visitor or new to this congregation. Pastoral care team members are wearing yellow name badges and are able to talk with you if you have life transitions or need assistance. We invite everyone to join us downstairs after service for coffee and snacks so that we can get to know each other better. Thank you for being with us today.
There's no spotlight today. Today's opening words are by Dr. Rebecca Savage. Spirit of life, eternal mystery, receive the meditations of our hearts this day. We come to this space with the challenges and sorrows of our lives ringing in our thoughts. All that we have left undone, our relationships that may be frayed or fraught, the pressures of life, work, and home hunching our spirits and bringing us down. Things, people, and places that are breaking our hearts. Beyond these walls, there is so much that is outside of our control. Let us leave it there for this moment. Beloved mystery, hold us close and whisper into our hearts that another world is possible. One beyond our imagination that we are building together. One prayer at a time, one hopeful declaration at a time, one act of forgiveness and grace at a time, one extension of care and compassion at a time. We give over all of our actions to you, sweet mystery, for we know not the impacts of our faithful practices, nor do we invest ourselves in them. Maybe we embrace today the wisdom that love is enough, care is enough, patience and service are enough. The rest is mystery, and may that be enough. Amen, and blessed be. In the spirit of fellowship, let us take a few minutes to greet those who are around us, especially those who may be new.
No, it's also Christmas. That's what Patrick said last week. There's one at our regular time, and then there's one at 6 o'clock. That's Christmas Eve. Yes. I think I would know. Do you want me to light the chalice while you read? No. You can do it? Okay.
Let us light the chalice.
To celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift.
For our opening song, we will be doing Spirit of Life twice.
All right, if the kids would like to come forward, we got a special treat for you all. And in true Unitarian Democratic fashion, we took a vote. We had asked if they would like to sing through this twice. And they said yes. And he said, oh, you want to do that? They go, well, no. So we said, what if we sing it once, and then we'll print the words out on a little sheet that she just took. It should be in your program. And then we're asking that you join us in on the second time around. So the children will be singing this once, and then the second time, we would like you all to join us. All right? Okay.
Good morning. My name is Ann Harrington. I am a member of the Pastoral Associates Ministry team. As we gather today, we pause to reflect on what lies in our hearts. In this time of sharing, we take a moment to recognize our personal joys and sorrows and to read from the book of joys and sorrows those personal life events that you have chosen to share with us. We have a few today. From Susan Perry, a joy. Thank you to Lori McCollum for helping lead the interfaith gathering of prayer for peace this past Tuesday. Thank you, Lori. And a sorrow from Adrian and Jeff Banks at the loss of Adrian's stepfather, Tim, who passed away yesterday, December 16th, from liver disease, and Jeff's Aunt Cindy, who passed yesterday at hospice from dementia. Our thoughts are with you. And from Elaine Cressy, remembering that this Sunday, the third Sunday Jazz, is returning to our sanctuary at 5 p.m. tonight. Are there any online? No, not at this time. Oh, one, okay.
Yesterday, this is from Zachary Garcia. A joy. Yesterday, I graduated from Western Illinois University with my master's in
Nice.
Anne Marie says the singing of the children was simply beautiful. And Zachary also says, Asara, I got some sort of close to my own self and have been writing sort of
Thank you. Let us become aware of the energy that brings us together in beloved community as we share a time of silent meditation. May we open our minds and hearts to a place of quiet, to a silent prayer for the healing of pain and the comfort of love. You are invited to come forward and light a candle during the musical meditation.
Thank you, Gates. There is a certain mystery to music, isn't there? Now, if you'll join us in the responsive reading, I don't know if it'll come up, but let's see. Maybe not. It's in your order of service. May you awaken to the mystery of being here. May you receive great encouragement when unknown frontiers beckon. Seek, no attention, sorry. May you experience each day as a sacred gift. This congregation is supported by the pledges of our members and friends. The offering provides an additional opportunity for expressing generosity by those attending today's worship. We are sharing the plate this month with the staff bonus, so please be as generous as you are able. Good morning, I'm Lori McCollum. I want to tell you a little story today. Doug and I were driving through Utah on vacation last spring, looking for ways to distract ourselves when there were no stations within range. And Doug jokingly asked Alexa, "What is the meaning of life?" Well, apparently people asked that question a lot of Alexa because she had a lot to say about it. She offered us articles in The Atlantic Magazine, Psychology Today, Wikipedia. As we read the answers aloud, we agreed there was a Unitarian sermon in here somewhere. I'm going to share some of what we learned and discussed on that trip, but first I want to share a short video clip with you about the meaning of life that's lighthearted but has some meat to it. So let's see what you think.
It isn't 42, and you don't need to sound concentrated to understand that there are four things that make life meaningful. Firstly, helping others. The most meaningless life would be to have to roll a boulder up a mountain repeatedly. Because what makes life meaningful is that it's
Oh no. I will. Fortunately, that was only 60 seconds. Well, it looks like we need to put some money into the system, right, Gates? Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to give... No, stop. I'm going to tell you a real quick summary of what he was saying there. The four things that this clip tells us about the meaning of life. Number one, helping others or providing service. Two, making something better than we are, or creating something new. Three, learning, whether that's finding out how things work or discovering more about ourselves. And 4, making connections with others, particularly sharing the vulnerabilities of ourselves with others. Now, this is an informal way of looking at a very complex topic, but of course, there's more complex theories we're going to talk a little bit about. I want to return to Utah for a moment, and I want you to imagine that you're driving through some of the most beautiful scenery in the country with red rocks and hoodoos and slot canyons around every turn, and those clear nights when you can see the Milky Way. How can you not think about the meaning of life when you're in a place like that? How did these things come to be? And how did we somehow become lucky enough to be experiencing them at this point in time? Why do we seek experiences that make us feel so small, yet part of the vastness of nature? And will these experiences change us in any way? Can we hold them in our being? There's been a lot of research about the human need to connect with nature and how it helps our physical and mental health. Some speculate that we keep within us a force, that there's a greater force than ourselves, and that we need to experience that, both to gain a connection to and experience the mystery of nature. Joseph Campbell stated in The Power of Myth that when we experience the beauty of a sunset or of a mountain, we are participating in divinity, and that we recognize something greater than the human dimension. Now, as we may not be very comfortable with words like divinity, but even agnostics like Carl Sagan talk about the ultimate power. And in his book, Cosmos, he stated that we are made of star stuff. So as we traveled and contemplated nature and our place therein, we also contemplated the meaning of our lives and all life. I do a lot of reading these days in retirement. I've learned that there's many philosophies about the meaning of life, and I've read that there's 3 basic types, according to the textbooks. There's supernatural theories, or God-centered theories. There's more natural theories. And then there's nihilism, which basically denies any meaning of any sort to anything. As a scientist, I've spent more time defining problems and exploring solutions and communicating that clearly than being a philosopher. But here we are, Unitarian Universalists, in a church composed of people with diverse philosophies about meaning and life. I guess my view is closest to one of the natural theories, existentialism. The main focus of existentialism is that we are each responsible for creating purpose or meaning in our lives. My favorite existentialist is Viktor Frankl. How many of you have ever read any of Viktor Frankl's work? He died in 1997. I read his book, Man's Search for Meaning, in college, and I highly recommended it. It's an oldie, but it's excellent. I found it to be inspiring. He was a Holocaust survivor, and he observed how his fellow concentration camp prisoners varied in their ability to cope with the dehumanizing environment in which they were forced to live. He wrote that even in the most horrific circumstances, individuals can find meaning by focusing on their inner lives and relationships with others. He developed a theory from this about why some prisoners lived while others died, despite being equally emaciated and abused. One man he spoke with was grieving the loss of his wife. He was wishing he could die too. And many times that's exactly what happened in the camp. However, Dr. Frankl asked him, "Can you find any positive meaning to being the survivor after your wife died?" The man paused and thought for a while and said something along the lines of, "Well, I'm glad she's not the one to remain alone here and suffer after my death. If we couldn't die together, this is the best outcome." When he changed his attitude and derived a new meaning from his grief, he was able to survive and be supportive of others. Frankl said that we find meaning by changing our viewpoint. Instead of focusing on what we expect from life, we need to examine what life expects from us. He offered 3 suggestions for finding meaning, which sound fairly familiar to this little video clip we just watched. 1, experience reality by interacting authentically with the environment and with others. 2, give something back to the world through creativity and self-expression. And 3, change your attitude when faced with a situation or circumstance that you can't change. Another founder of this philosophy was Soren Kierkegaard. I think I said that right. who is famous for saying that life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. This concept explains why science alone doesn't usually meet our needs. Humans want to understand, and we're curious by nature. We also seek to control our environment, and science can help with that need, but in addition, we seem to be programmed to find meaning in our existence. The supernatural philosophies, including most religions, offer up very clear rules and directives most of the time. And there's evidence that people who score high on religiosity also score higher on mental health measures and live longer. So finding meaning seems to be a source of resiliency. But does that mean that we questioning UUs are less able to find meaning or have less need to find meaning? I don't think so. Instead, research seems to show that most people who walk away from traditional religions still find this need for meaning in their lives. As we continued to listen to Alexa on our drive, we found that current research has been conceptualizing the meaning of life on a 3-point construct. I don't know why they all have 3 points. Does your life experience make sense to you? Is it coherent? Do you have a sense of purpose, goal, direction? And do you feel that your life matters? Do you feel significant? They even came up with a questionnaire to assess this, and they found that people who score high on these ratings show better physical health, mental health, and overall life satisfaction. Interestingly, the first concept, coherence, predicted high self-esteem. The second concept, purpose, predicted a higher awareness of whether we are rewarded or punished in life. And the third concept, significance, most strongly predicted a sense of spirituality. Our brain is equipped with important mechanisms that help us make sense of our experiences and feel that events in our life fit together. And this all leads us to tell stories and seek out stories that can help form our identity. For example, there's a famous story about President Kennedy, who made a visit to the NASA Space Center in 1962. He noticed a janitor carrying a broom, and he interrupted his tour to walk over to the man and introduce himself. He said, "Hi, I'm Jack Kennedy. What are you doing today?" "Well, Mr. President," the janitor responded, "I'm helping to put a man on the moon." How he told his story helped define his identity. Stories that have deeper meaning become iconic. You can find similar themes in many stories across cultures. Most iconic stories focus on a specific person, often one entering adulthood, coming-of-age stories. Most of these stories also include a mentor, a group of supportive friends, and a noble cause. Sound familiar? Joseph Campbell explored fairy tales, legends, and mythical symbols throughout his career. Many years ago, we had a group book read here of The Flight of the Wild Gander by Dr. Campbell. Our leader was Jim Vandeweel, who many of you may remember. He helped us examine how myths are a necessary part of all human cultures and help the human psyche develop from its natural fears to more strength and ability to be more cooperative with others. The most important myths use archetypes, symbols that cross cultures and time. Carl Jung was the most well-known psychiatrist who explored archetypes, which he often analyzed in our dreams. There are the caretaker, the wise old one, the trickster, and of course the hero or heroine. Events often include floods, initiation rites, separation, abandonment. Multiple cultures across the world have stories with supernatural plots designed to examine the shadow side of mankind. They often include sacred items that help us lead or save mankind. I'm sure you can think of many of these stories. There's, of course, King Arthur and Merlin. There's Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. There's Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's Frodo and Gandalf. And there's Harry Potter and Dumbledore. Some of you younger folks, I'm sure, have all kinds of new ones that I'm unfamiliar with. If we want to be more heretical, is that how you say that? There's Jesus. There's Buddha. There's Muhammad. I remember while participating in this book club that I had just finished a section on Native American legends, which Campbell then compared to the New Testament. I found myself feeling a bit defensive. Wait a minute, I thought, but that's a true story. Uh-oh, my parochialism was showing. You can gain a new perspective on your own belief system when you examine the legends in which you've been immersed your whole life and see how they fit within the entirety of the world's cultures. Campbell reported that the majority of cultures have a legend with an orphan figure, often with a wise mentor, as well as a group of supportive allies, and that he or she becomes a spiritual leader of the tribe. This is true of cultures that have no evidence of ever interacting with one another. Personally, I'm a Harry Potter fan. This series came out while our daughter was in elementary school, so that was a natural jumping off point. Harry is, of course, an orphan. He has several primary friends. And, of course, he's in a battle between good and evil. His mentors include, of course, the most magical and powerful of them all, Dumbledore. And there's many symbolic creatures like the deadly basilisk, who's a snake, for those of you who aren't into this series. There's often evil snakes in these iconic legends. And while Harry is growing in his wizardly powers, he's also developing true friends and walking the lines between fear and courage, between acceptance and racism, and between life and death. He breaks rules, he foments rebellion, and helps with his friends to save the wizarding universe from he who shall not be named. He encounters many awe-inspiring experiences, such as the phoenix who rises from the ashes. He finds his parents and his own patronesses, which are spells associated with memories, each character's happiest memories. I really like that one a lot, because you find a lot of power in your happy memories. This series explores the magic and the meaning of life, as many others do. I imagine you all have your own stories about encountering this sense of awe. For me, they usually involve nature, but I've also had that experience when interacting with my grandchildren. I remember lying in bed with infant Miles, marveling at the way he made eye contact, and with my response, that pull of bonding instinct that leads adults to care for these little beings and to sacrifice their lives for them sometimes. Research reveals that experiencing awe can reduce stress, quiet our inner critic, and inspire us to act more altruistically toward the people around us. Awe is defined as the feeling of being in the presence of something vast that exceeds our current understanding of the world. Most people who have direct experience with the birth of a child, the death of a loved one, know that feeling. Some people have a sense of awe when experiencing a classic work of art, great music, the acts of kindness from others. That feeling of awe affects the way we view ourselves, and it can give us a perspective of ourselves as both small and insignificant, but also connected. And our worries seem smaller too. Awe-inducing experiences also make us more generous toward others. Last month, I was listening to a television talk show, which I rarely do, but they were interviewing Meg Ryan, who I haven't seen in years, and I was curious. So she was hawking her new movie, of course, but she also got into a discussion about the meaning of her life and career, and she made an interesting statement that sounded very Unitarian to me. She said, "I have no answers, but I have compelling questions." I can identify with that. Why am I here? Do I have a purpose? Why is all of this here? Is there a source to all of this being, or is everything just random? Doug's son Jeff is an engineer, and he probably understands quantum physics, but I do not. However, from what I've read, it suggests that we perceive at most a tiny sliver of reality. There may be some answers to these philosophical questions in the science of quantum physics, which suggests that the universe is much larger than any of our ancestors believed. Our knowledge is much smaller than we want to acknowledge. The line between science and philosophy is getting smaller all the time, and it's still there, the mystery. We humans often want to find the answers to these mysteries of life: birth, death, how did the Egyptians build the pyramids? Finding a way to embrace the diverse views of the world's cultures, and not only our own, can help us to deepen our own sense of meaning. Expanding our own comfort level with this diversity may help us appreciate the sense of awe we encounter from time to time. I encourage you to prioritize seeking those experiences of awe, or perhaps instead of making it a goal, just make the space for it in your life. Taking mindfulness breaks throughout the day can be helpful. The Buddhist concept of being present in the moment and paying attention to an unfolding experience can provide us with that sense of awe in the mystery. As Peter Mayer says in his song, Holy Now, this morning outside I stood. I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. Thank you. Is it still my job here? Apparently. All right. So if you would rise as you're willing and able, we now have our closing song, 126.
Closing words are by Reverend Joan Javier Duval. May we embrace the mystery that surrounds us. May we sink deep into the truth of our unity, even amidst life's discord. May we keep our hearts open to those moments of more than moral splendor, when there is indeed a touch of glory in just being alive.
speaker.